Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. God, I think I've gotten through the worst of it. That lurgy really did a number on me on Wednesday, but hey ho, here I am, pretty much with my voice back. Only a few remnants of my chesty cough, and I'm ready to give somebody what for. But of course, you didn't come here to find out about the clarity of my voice. No, you may want to hear my voice, but it's not the clarity you worry about. It's about the message I send. So, why don't we start by talking about Sue Gray? Now, you're probably wondering, who the fuck is Sue Gray when she's at home in the houses of treachery? I mean Parliament. Or maybe I was right first time. Sue Gray works as a Labour MP under Keir the traitor Starmer. Yes, that's Snake. Now, why is she important to all this? What has she got that no other MP can top? Or even the Prime Minister in this case. I'll tell you what it is. How about the fact that she's asked for and has actually been given a salary of £170,000. Yes, 170 grand. Can you imagine what her expenses are going to be? Can you imagine if she's actually able to also claim 170 grand in expenses that us, the taxpayer, have to fucking pay for? It sends shivers down my spine just thinking about it. It's that, or the wind suddenly went sub-zero on me. But it's a classic one of those cases where, basically, Keir the traitor Starmer can pay £600 million to Ukraine. She can pay an entitled bitch 170k in a salary when we don't even know what she's capable of. We can even give migrants money to the tune of £9 million a day at the taxpayer's expense. Or what about Anjem Chowdhury, who ended up living in a £1 million house, again at the taxpayer's expense? But we can't spare 300 quid for some OAP sitting in their home worrying about what's going to fucking happen to them this winter. And what will happen to me if I don't remember to check the thermostat battery. Anyway, the fact is, Keir the traitor Starmer is willing to let up to 4,000 elderly people die this winter because he's a selfish cunt, to put it simply. But you already knew that, as well as the fact I've called him a sectarianist bastard, a fascist, a dictator, or again, I may have been right first time there, and simply a man that is completely and utterly loathsome. As I may have mentioned before, if Keir the traitor Starmer was running around in London street on fire, I don't think I'd even want to piss on him to put him out. I think my piss would be offended to be on him. And frankly, I'd rather toast a marshmallow over him than put him out. Hell, I might even go the whole 9 yards and get a fucking tent pitched out that bitch. Because let me tell you, I could certainly enjoy the campfire. And now we just need a few instruments and then we can all sing Kumbaya, my lord. Or is it go fuck yourself, Keir the traitor Starmer? I can't make up my mind. Yes, it was a lovely day, that was. We spent our merry time around the campfire singing go fuck yourself, Kumbaya. Anyway, back on track. Why should she have 170 grand in a salary when elderly people can't even have £300 for their winter fuel payment in the winter? In fact, I've got another way of putting this. Keir the traitor Starmer, aka the Sheriff of London, is taking from the poor and the vulnerable to give to the illegal and undeserving. While everyone's preparing the defences at the castle, Keir the traitor Starmer is holding up the portcullis for everyone. And then that's if he's not going out to fucking shops and getting his wife whole bunches of clothes and claiming 100 grand in freebies. Why should Keir the traitor Starmer live comfortably while the elderly have to worry about are they going to get any bloody heating this winter? Instead of giving this bitch a pay rise that she quite frankly does not deserve, how about you put some of that money towards the pensioners? Or even better still, if you're really worried about prison space, why don't you build some more fucking prisons? Surely that would be that rare thing called common sense that you should have, Keir the traitor Starmer. And after what's happened with Hugh Degenerate Edwards, it should stand to reason why nobody can ever be convinced now that we live in a true and fair system. There is no shot anybody is going to believe a single second of that shit when they can see the two-tier policing, the two-tier media, the two-tier judiciary, and of course the two-tier governing we're currently under. But I go back to my old point. Why should Keir the traitor Starmer live comfortably while we suffer? And the king isn't much better either, though at least he had the gonads to actually stay down there and actually give a fine balance between showing sympathy to those who lost their children, God rest their souls, in Southport, and actually being apathetic. Because obviously you can't be lively and jolly at an event where children have been killed, because it would show a lack of sensitivity and all that shit. And it's one of the very few times I would endorse that kind of thing. Whereas Keir the traitor Starmer decided to lay a reef, and then when somebody tried to ask him things, he fucked off back to London. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. The media would rather pump their campaign of fear, telling you, you're going to jail if you were part of those riots. You're going to jail if you dare to speak about the government in a negative light. You could be arrested if you side with Tommy Robinson. Well, I say fuck your media, fuck the police, and fuck the establishment. Just like I did at the end of some of my older videos. They have not earned my respect. I shall tolerate them, but I'm not going to sit here and sing my fucking praises about them. I mean, why should I give praises to organisations that would rather lock up concerned parents and patriots? Why would I want to side with people who side with the establishment? And what about Sadiq DEI Khan? And by DEI this time, I mean dumbass, egotistical Islamist, and that's about it. I could think of a few other names as well for Sadiq Khan, but I think the dumbass, egotistical Islamist definitely suits Mr. Khan much better than just calling him Sadiq Khan. And it seems at this point, I've grown accustomed to giving titles to people. So there's a few good ones to start off with. And it even includes DEI, which isn't diversity, equality and inclusion. Because let me tell you, Sadiq Khan, diversity is not our biggest strength. It is the bane of our country. I had a saying back in the day about the Tories and the Labour Party both being two cheeks of the same shit-covered arse. Well, I'd like to retract that statement, because they are now two different arses at this point. Keir the traitor Starmer and the Labour Party are now the arse that is completely packed to the brim with noxious fumes and a whole load of poison coming out the other end. Yeah, you could say Rishi the Slippery Sunak wasn't exactly a great PM, but at least he had some certain appeal about him, and he wasn't trying to get rid of free speech or destroy people in their own homes. Whereas Keir the traitor Starmer is taking every negative trait from most of the politicians we've had to this day, and he's decided to say, I'm not even going to double down on them, I'm going to triple down on them. Harold Shipman says, but I killed 200 elderly people. And here comes Keir the traitor Starmer saying, hold my beer. Wonder what kind of bus driver I'm going to get this time. Is he going to tell me not to swear? I wonder. Let's find out. Well, there's two of them. And they're actually a lot more civil than the last guy I got. Anyway, back to the point. Keir the traitor Starmer represents everything that's bad with this country right now. Everything. There's no question about it. The only people who could even remotely defend Keir the traitor Starmer are die-hard Labour loyalists, and that's about it. Even some of the veteran voters, though, are deciding they've had enough and they want to get away from them. They've decided they don't want to be a part of this shit show, and I can't blame them, to be honest. Who would want to be associated with Keir the traitor Starmer? Who would want to be next to a man that literally decides your taxpayer money is going to go to the MPs who do fuck all in the Houses of Parliament? You hear that? Other than the engine going? That's because anybody's worth their salt is not going to side with somebody who gives your money to the MPs or pisses your taxpayer money up the wall by sending it off to foreign countries. Anybody worth their salt would say, you know what? I voted you last time, I'm never voting you ever again. And don't worry about the numbers on the back there, that isn't actually where I'm going. Anyway, this man, Keir the traitor Starmer, does not have a clue how to run this country. The only thing he knows how to do is stroke number one, is to piss people off. He only knows how to get under people's skin. And I can tell you right now, even if all we're doing is adding 80k to that woman's salary, Sue Gray, that's still 80k that could be going to the pensioners, that could be going into prisons, that could be going anywhere else but in the back pockets of a Labour MP. Like, I don't approve of anybody going to any MP, quite frankly. But at least with the other parties, you can safely say, well, they're a bit more respected than the Labour Party are right now. The only favour I'm willing to pay Keir the traitor Starmer is that if he was willing to leave the country, I'd buy him the fucking tickets to piss off back to another country. Quite frankly, I don't want him here. I don't want Keir the traitor Starmer sabotaging and destroying this country any more than it already is. I don't think anybody does. Like, I could even go as far as to say, you know what? I hated David the con man Cameron, the elected Conservative Prime Minister. But you know what? At least he gave us the referendum, even though he didn't want to. He at least gave us that much. And to be fair, that was only because Nigel Farage threatened him. Speaking of Nigel Farage, it seems like Nigel Farage has gone ahead and stabbed us all in the back again. How he's thrown Tommy Robinson under the bus again, and now he doesn't seem to have any problem with basically going out and saying, I don't want mass deportations. Well, guess what, Nigel? We do. We do want mass deportations. We don't want shitloads of foreign criminals in this country, costing the taxpayer money, and in the meantime, they have got, in most cases, no chance of rehabilitating. We don't want them here. Take out the trash. Send them back to whichever country they came from. Much like the illegal immigrants that throw their passports in the river or the ocean or wherever the hell they throw them, so that we basically cannot identify them. And last time I checked, it is illegal to try and enter a country without entry documents like a visa, a permit, a passport, entry documents. Basically, these illegals coming over the shores, they shouldn't be getting towed by our RNLI. They should be sent straight back. And frankly, they should be thankful that they aren't being detained and sent back. Because at the end of the day, like I said, they've got no legal or human right to be here. That's the cold bit of truth lefties are going to be foaming at the mouth over. Lefties won't like it because it's called facts. Don't just take my word for it. Just do a little bit of research on the law and you'll be able to find out for yourself. Anybody who tries to come in this country without a passport, basically, illegal immigrant, just like that. Get rid of them. We could easily just say, these prisoners, foreign people, no chance of rehabilitation, send them back. These illegal immigrants coming over the shores in their dinghies, send them back. Stab the boats so that they can't use them again. Because that's the thing. Keir the traitor Starmer, just like any other politician, if they had the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, they would actually say to these people, if you try to come via this route, you won't be welcome here, and then send them straight back. It's not hard. You just get a bunch of police, even the army if necessary, get them on the shores, get the navy out, put them along the shores, have gunboats ready, give them one warning, turn back to the boats, or we'll sink them. And you will stop the boats, just like that. Because they won't want to come. Because not only will they not get into the country, but they know that they'll lose money each time they pay these people smugglers for a place in one of these dinghies. It's not hard. Just apply some of that common sense. But Keir the traitor Starmer and his traitor party, sorry, Labour Party, or again, maybe I was right first time, they don't care about the British people. They don't give a shit. They're willing to let Auntie Ethel and Grandpa John freeze their tits off or their knackers off in their old homes because he can't be fucked to give 300 quid to the elderly. That's not a man I want to stand behind. And frankly, we can't stand behind Nigel Farage anymore. He has thrown Tommy Robinson under the bus far too many times. He has actively, he's basically come to power, and then every single time he has had an opportunity, when the going gets tough, Nigel would rather get going, quite frankly. I will always thank him for the referendum, but frankly, I have lost all respect for Nigel Farage now. I've had enough. Yes, he says a lot of the things that are absolutely right, but I can't respect a man who literally runs away from responsibility, who runs away from wanting to run this country in a manner that it should be run. I don't want to support a man that is literally going to keep slagging off people who follow Tommy Robinson as far right, or the people worse still who instigated the riots. He should know better than anyone. That's libelous slander, and he could be taken to court for that, because that would do so much damage to any ordinary person's reputation to be known as a shit stirrer, basically. It would do so much damage to them if they wanted to get a job, or if they wanted to basically speak in a public venue, or some other thing requiring you to have some level of esteem. Basically, Nigel Farage is slandering us. Defamation. If Nigel Farage has got the balls, he'll actually come out and apologise, but he never will, because at the end of the day, that man is only in it for himself. That's the cold, bitter truth on all this. I accept there are a lot of things that he does that I do agree with, but the trouble is, I have so many problems with him now, just constantly slagging off ordinary patriots, ordinary people, that at the end of the day, I can't respect a man like that, who is literally just going to put a knife in everyone's backs. Honestly, it sickens me. Yes, I don't want Keir the traitor Starmer in power, but at this point, I don't want Nigel in power anymore. I really don't. I think we need a person who actually has the conviction, and I'm not talking about criminal ones, I'm talking about the actual conviction to stand up there on the big stage as Prime Minister and make the hard decisions and make the right decisions. Send the illegals back, deport foreign criminals, make sure our health service is not an international health service. We need change in this country. And as much as we need reform in this country, we don't need reform at the party. Maybe Ben Habib can prove me wrong here. Maybe Ben Habib can make a new party or something. Or maybe he can take over reform and actually take it in the right direction. I don't know. But I can't respect Nigel. Not anymore. I just cannot. Thank you. Oh, dear me. God, I need that air. And man alive, it's hot. Anyway, I can't trust a man like Farage anymore. Like, he's done this too many fucking times. Like, once, okay. Twice, fine. 3 times now that he is throwing people like Tommy Robinson under the bus. Is there a message here? Is there a secret message that I am getting from above? And I'm not even religious, but there has to be some kind of message there that says to me that Nigel can't be trusted, quite frankly. It's a shame, because I used to quite like Nigel Farage. I used to have a good solid bit of admiration for the guy. But I can't respect a guy who literally wants to throw everyone else under the bus so that he can get his little ego massaged, or so he can have his 5 minutes in the fucking spotlight. Oh God, and I just found this. Another nonce locked up, I see. Mohammed Al-Fayed. Over 100 victims, potentially. You see, this is what happens when we open our homes to barbarians and rapists of the intolerant ideology of Islam, folks. The grooming gangs, this fucker in a Harrods store. It really does speak volumes, doesn't it, folks? But hey, it's okay, Nigel Farage. We won't do mass deportations, even though the country clearly fucking needs them. Let's not worry about the intolerant death cult that is Islam, that basically wants to go out of their way to bugger and violate every person in this country that is a woman. Let's not worry about the fact that 90% of terror suspects are Islamic. Let's not worry about the fact that Islam often tries to scrounge off of our benefit system through, as they called it, through Andrew Chowdhury's own words, jihadi seekers allowance. Look, let's not worry about mass deportations at all. Everything's fine. The sun is shining. It actually is. The sun is shining, and I can piss out a colourful rainbow. Fuck off, Nigel Farage. This country needs mass deportations more than ever before. And if you think we, the British people, are going to sit back while Islam and illegal immigrants turn this country into a third world shithole that we won't be able to recognise, you've got another thing coming, matey. You want to potentially stop civil war, Nigel Farage? Then it's time to make a stand. Time for you to make a choice, Nigel Farage. Oh, you're really in for a treat this time. Guess what? I've got another one of. Anyway, Nigel Farage, you've got a choice to make. Either you grow a pair of balls, be a man, stop slagging off Tommy Robinson and the rest of us patriots as far right and the people instigating the riots, and actually stand alongside us, or keep our names and our cause out of your fucking mouth. Your choice. Are you a man of the people or a working class pretender? Choice is yours, Nigel Farage. But I'm done with this shit. I am sick and tired of trying to defend you when you actively go out of your way to slag off the British public and Tommy Robinson, who has spoke no evil about you, who has had nothing but praise to give you. But you keep slagging us off, and he's going to take his support elsewhere, and your credibility will dissipate. Just like that. I am sick of trying to defend you, Farage. I'm not going to anymore. I've had enough. Oh, sure, if there's something morally reprehensible, maybe I'll say something. But I'm no longer singing your praises on this one, because I've frankly had enough. You should be thankful right now, Nigel Farage. There are people right now who are not deciding to swing down the gavel on your ass and decide they're going to take you to court, because they have a very good case against you right now, considering you went out of your way to say that us people were the ones instigating the Southport riots. No, we were not the ones who did that shit. Tommy Robinson, if you even did 2 minutes of research, you would actually realise Tommy Robinson was not actually advocating for violence, advocating for vandalism, advocating for looting, or any kind of law-breaking activity. He was calling for peace many times. Did Piers Morgan do that? Did Keir the traitor Starmer do that? Do you think a lot of the mainstream media did that? No, they didn't. They all piled in to say the far right is responsible for this, or the Tories are responsible for this, or even you are responsible for it, Nigel Farage. Well, let me tell you something. I'm not stupid like them. I know you didn't cause the riots, but you are causing a lot of hatred towards you because of the fact you are going out of your way slagging off ordinary people. That I can say without any shadow of a doubt, because I know that's not libelous, it's fact. Don't just take my word for it, though. The way I look at it, Nigel Farage, you've got two choices. Be a man, admit your mistakes, and come and join us, and we can all take this country back for the greater good, or stay the fuck out of our way, because we don't want pretenders who say they're all for the movement, but they're all just talk. They're all mouth and no fucking trousers. Well, I can assure you I've still got mine on. After all, I've only just come in from work. Anyway, you've got that decision to make, Nigel Farage, and I leave that to you. Now, for the small issue. There we go, much better. I know I did a poor job of the ripping this time, but yeah, it's another fucking TV licensing letter. So I'm going to have to go over this shit again. For anybody who hasn't come across this channel, who doesn't know what I'm about to be talking about, the TV licensing goons like to pay you a visit, or they try to send letters like this one I'm about to read into your house in the hopes that you will pay excuse me, hoping that you'll pay up for a TV license fee that you potentially don't need. Now let me be clear, before I go into this thing, I will say this much and just make it clear, I don't condone law breaking, and if you do watch live programs as they're broadcast, or record live programs as they're being broadcast, or you watch anything on the BBC iPlayer, you do need a TV license. And that's regardless on any device. Remember this, because I'm going to cover some points that these guys bullshit on. So, official notice, investigation opened. Oh no! Anyway, dear legal occupier, this is an official warning that we are carrying out an investigation of your address. We have asked you to contact us several times, but you have not responded. There is still no record of a TV license at this property. The law will stop. I don't know why they did this, unless they were going to underline it, but hey ho. Anyway, it's a criminal offence to watch or record live TV without a licence on any device. What I raised earlier. This includes all TV channels, pay TV services like Sky and Live TV, on streaming services like Amazon Prime Video. You also need TV license to be covered for everything on BBC iPlayer. Not every channel. You cannot be persecuted on this shit. You don't need a TV license if you are watching catch-up TV. So in other words, after it's already been broadcast live. So this is a crock of shit already, the all TV channels. No, it's all TV channels that are broadcasting live television. If you are watching anything on a catch-up service or catch-up basis, you do not need a TV license. How can you stop this investigation? Buy a TV license. No shit, Sherlock. Or by calling the number. You can choose the payment that suits you best, blah, blah, blah. If you recently moved, please move your old license, blah, blah, blah. Let us know that you don't use TV licensing or receiving equipment, blah, 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 blah. Don't give a fuck. If we don't hear from you or our enforcement team, we'll schedule a stroke number 2. We'll schedule a visit. You could be prosecuted if we find you've been watching, recording, or downloading TV programs illegally. You may have to pay a fine of up to £1,000. Stroke number 3. Pay a fine of up to £1,000 plus any legal costs and or compensation. Man, fucking live. I'm having trouble with this one. Yours faithfully, Scott Robson, Regional Management Enforcement. This doesn't look like wet ink signature to me. That just looks like something that was, I don't know, drawn up in Word. You can use it as like a signature in mails and all that shit. Now, normally, I'd rip these papers up quite frankly, because it is so fucking satisfying. Even Lee Anderson did one of these at some point. Maybe I could even link it in the description below. No promises though. If not, you can easily find him. I'm sure if you search up his name and TV license letter, you'll probably get something that shows him ripping up the fucking thing. But you know what I'm doing? I'm keeping a log of all these. Then, when I get enough of them, I am going to respond to their division. And I'm basically going to tell them, stop harassing me. Next time I receive another one of these letters, I'm taking you fuckers to court. Well, that was fucking disappointing. Anyway, I'd rather have used that thing as a frisbee, to be honest, because at least then it would have given me some kind of joy in my heart. But alas, sometimes even that's not enough, and I'm not allowed to have nice things. But Keir, the traitor Starmer is apparently, to the tune of 100 grand. But the bottom line in that TV licensing letter, to round this all off, is that you only need a license if you are watching or recording live programs or watching anything on iPlayer. But there are cases where some of these fuckers will even fabricate evidence against you, which in and of itself is against the law. It's tampering with evidence, and of course it would be perjury if said that it's true in court. And they know that. So they're trying to be very careful with this shit. Hell, there were leaked bits of footage from old TV license divisions where sometimes you'd have some dickhead with a warrant or a warning or what have you, and they'd have a pen and then be like, and then they say that people will look at the pen. I'm not going to be looking at the pen. I'm going to be looking at where your fucking feet are, and I'm going to be looking at my door lock. And then when I tell you, if you come to my door, because I have been graciously waiting for you cunts every day for the last fucking year and a half, and yet you cunts still haven't responded, and you still haven't come to my address. But I'm waiting for you to come to this place, give me that knock on the door, so I can say, hello, what do you want? And then you say, I'm from TV licensing, no thank you, goodbye. Put simply. They like to think of themselves as high and mighty, but they're just glorified salesmen, nothing more. They have no power of authority, they have no power to enter your home, they have no power to intimidate you if you don't give them the opportunity. And the only way they can get a conviction against you is if you let them in your home or you let something slip. That's why the longer you talk to them, the more likely you are to slip. So the best thing to do, as soon as they declare who they're from, no thank you, goodbye. That's how you deal with TV licensing. And how do you deal with Keir the traitor Starmer? You form a resistance. You form a movement. And you take out the trash, metaphorically speaking. It's time for Farage, though, to just make his decision. Does he want to continue playing silly buggers and slander us and slag us off and slag Tommy Robertson off? Or will he finally muster up the courage and have the balls to stand alongside us and stop slandering us, because we are all one and the same and we all want this country back?